Hello and welcome to the election arena, where every week advocates from the left and the right will square off and discuss the most pressing issues facing Israel and the upcoming September elections. I am Mossi Raz, former member of Knesset. With me today is Davidi Hermelin, president of the International Center for Public Diplomacy in Israel and a member of the Likud party. Let's get started. So, Mr. Melin,
Davidi.
Davidi, a few members of the Congress, Democrats, women who are from the radical part of the Democrat Party. Some of them might support BDS or not, I don't know. I think one of them supports BDS.
You talk about your party?
I'm talking about the Democrats Party in US. They want to come to visit in Israel and Palestine. What do you think should be the reaction of the Israeli government? Should the Israeli government let them in?
First of all, we should say Palestinian Authority because there is no country named Palestine beside in the fantasies of the extreme left in Israel, maybe. But maybe I will surprise you. I think that we should not respond. I think that because the case is well-known politicians from a Western country, I think that if we will not let them to get inside, we will encourage debate about the issue, and we will encourage discussion about Israel that we wouldn't like to encourage. That's why I think with all the anger, we should let them get inside to do their thing.
Why anger? They come and they think different from you. And
they can, exactly. Why to
they
make...
can express their whatever they want to say. They are not a danger to anybody. Why anger?
So why anger? Because I think that any Israeli patriotic would be anger, or should be anger, if someone would like to boycott Israel. And this is exactly...
First, I don't think that... if I know the facts, I think 3 out of 4 don't support boycotting Israel. And I think that even those lady who does support, or this member of the Knesset who does support, if she comes
of
here...
the Congress. Yeah.
Of the Congress. If she comes here, it's kind of not really boycotting, yes? If she buy here things, if she come through the airport, so it's not really boycotting.
This is exactly the discussion that I don't think that we should encourage, because it is pointless, and if they want to come, they can come the other way around. I believe that we, or our government, and for sure we as society, we should use this opportunity to show and to demonstrate the beautiful face of Israel.
So you should meet with them and try to convince them that you are right.
The diversity of our society.
I should meet with them and try to show them that I am right. And
I would meet
maybe
them.
They will convince you.
To be honest, I would meet with them. And
all of them?
With all of them, yes. Anyone who is good enough to be a Congress member in the United States, I will discuss with, beside maybe other, someone that would like
President Trump
violence. But with your permission, Mossi, I would use this opportunity to show them the democracy, the multi-faced country that we have here, and why they are wrong by using anti-Israeli methods in their political activities.
President Trump told them to go back to the place that they were actually came from. I think one of them is from Palestinian origin. Her parents were born, one of them in East Jerusalem, or Bet Hanina, actually you might call Israel or Jerusalem, and one of them from, I think, Bet Ur el-Fuka, from the West Bank, or whatever you call it. So President Trump actually, I think, called her to come here. Would the Israeli government accept her for good to hear?
So this is very nice humoristic anecdote. I don't think...
No, it's not humoristic. I mean, your ally is actually sending her here, and you're not willing to accept it.
You know that it was something inside the political discussion within America, and I have, to be honest, I don't, I'm not always keeping that, but I try not to be involved in the interpolitical debates of America, because we respect all sides in America.
Of course, but it's not internal debate in America, it's internal debate here.
I think that President Trump wanted to demonstrate the hypocrisy as he saw it, and again, to be honest, as I see it, of those deputies.
So what do you mean hypocrisy is that from the place she came from, Israel, the situation is worse than in US regarding human rights? Or
no,
this is what they wanted to say?
Within the so-called Palestinian society, when
so
you can see all the corruption, all the culture of life,
he did not talk about geographic place, but about society.
All the violence. I think that nothing can be compared to the wellness America offers to its citizens. And if I would be American, I think that I would agree with the point of view of President Trump.
As a response to the Israeli attack or Israeli house demolition in Area A, opposing the Oslo Accords, President Abbas actually said that he is going to stop the cooperation with Israel. The question is, Davidi, you are from the same city that actually President Abbas is coming from. Originally.
From Tzfat.
From Tzfat. Yeah. Actually, the question is still, is President Abbas still a partner, and or if Prime Minister Netanyahu is a partner?
To be honest, I think that President Abbas is a partner for managing the situation right now. He is not partner for the future, because he still keeps the agenda of the three-state solution. And I say three states because we already have two. We have Israel and we have Jordan, which holds a big majority of so-called Palestinian citizens. And we are talking now, or he's talking now and you, about the third state, which you call mistakenly Palestine. So anyone who keeps talking about this obstacle for peace named Palestinian statehood is not relevant, and they cannot be a partner for building the future.
So you think Jordan, who actually accepted in the last years millions of refugees from Syria and millions of refugees from Iraq, and in the last decades millions of refugees or hundreds of thousands of refugees from Palestine, or whatever you want to call it,
Judea and Samaria.
You think not only Judea and Samaria, from Israel too, itself, in 48. And not only in 48, in 67 too. So you think Jordan is the Palestinian state, and what you call Judea and Samaria, which is not the right term anyhow, even from Hebrew, but I will not discuss it now, West Bank or occupied territories are not part of this Palestinian future state. So you say twice. First, Jordan is the Palestinian state. Second, the Judea and Samaria, what you call it. I don't know what is Judea and Samaria, because Mevaseret Yerushalayim is in Judea. But whatever this mistake is,
part of Judea
with
and
90% Palestinians, you say it's not part of this Palestinian
I think that
state.
Jordan should take more responsibility to the destiny of the grandchildren of its own citizens, which are living in the territories which Jordan occupied in the war of 48, and since then...
So you say the citizens are Jordanians, but the regime is Israeli.
Let me answer. As you can have Israelis who are living in California without American citizenship, you can have Palestinians / Jordanians / Arabs / whatever who will live in Judea and Samaria under the sovereignty of Israel.
Israel is giving education and health and all the other things to the
Everything-
Israelis in California.
Everything can be open.
You still think that it's the same? It's not
Everything
the
can
same.
be open for negotiations, but one thing should be clear. The concept of Palestinian state is not relevant anymore.
Because
I know
the
it's difficult
Palestinian
for you.
nation-
I
but
know
you
it's
say
difficult for you.
No, but you say Jordan is the Palestinian state, so you say it is relevant.
In
You say
Judea and
it is-
Samaria. Thank
it
you
is-
for correcting
It is not
me.
a nation, but they have a nation state. This is what you say in Jordan. But what you call Judea and Samaria, 90%
Call
of
it
the
as ever you
are
want.
Palestinians, is part of Israel and will not be part of the Palestinian state because you decided.
The question
Opposing-
is long, but the answer is very short. You can call it as ever you want, as long as there will not be any other state
So-
beside Israel in the western side of the Jordan. This is the opening situation, and from here we should discuss the future. But one thing is clear. There will never be
So assuming-
any Arab state in the western side of the Jordan.
So assuming you're a member of the party of Prime Minister Netanyahu, assuming that he thinks the same, so the question is not, is Abbas a partner, but the answer is Netanyahu is not a partner to peace in,
No, there is no
in this
equality.
region because it does not accept the basic rules, the international law, the international border.
Who said?
The
You
fact
say
that
so.
the fact that the territories are occupied and there is occupation there and people
Mossi,
are...
get out of the bubble. No one
it
is
is not a
talking
bubble.
anymore about a Palestinian state.
You-
Maybe some
you don't
statements
have
of
to- you don't have to talk.
European leaders. Listen, it will never happen. And I'm not the spokesman of Mr. Netanyahu, but one thing I can tell you, this is not relevant anymore.
So
to
Netanyahu
have-
is not a
Please let me
partner.
finish.
It's not a
no, it's
partner
not that
to-
Netanyahu is not a partner.
There
If you
is
waste
UN
our
resolution.
time, if you waste our time by talking about the Palestinian
No,
state...
this is the UN
But please,
which you wasted
let
your
me-
time
let
for
me-
two-state solution,
let me finish,
accepted by all the world.
Please let me finish one sentence. If you talk about Palestinian state, you waste time. If you talk about Palestinian state, you are not partner for peace. There is no equality.
So the UN is not partner for
between-
peace. The European Union is not partner for peace. US is not partner for
They are
peace.
not partners for
Russia
peace.
is not
Our
partner for
negotiation
peace.
is with our
The Arab League
neighbors.
is not partner for peace. The Israeli opposition is not partner for peace. Only Netanyahu is
This
partner
is very
for
nice
peace with his
populist thing
wife.
to say, but as you see, no one is caring about that, especially the Arab countries around us. But one thing should be clear: even if you support the Palestinian state, which is okay, this is democracy, you can support whatever you want.
you.
I will defend your
Appreciate
right.
that. Thank you.
And this is obvious. I should not say so, but one thing should be clear: there is no. This is not equal peace and Palestinian state. Palestinian state will guarantee that there will never be a peace.
תפוחי אדמה לוהטים במשרד התחבורה לביצוע עבודות בשבת, עבודות תשתית, רכבת, רשת יהודית.
So the right wing, leader of right wing, Bezalel Smotrich, maybe not all of the right wing, are actually calling for a theocratic state, according to the Jewish halakha, the Jewish law, the Jewish tradition. What do you think about that?
Just let's make it clear: Mr. Smotrich is not my immediate cup of tea. But I think that if
Cup
it's
of tea in
about
August,
time,
it's not the time for tea.
I think that in this hot summer in Israel, of course not, and we are really jealous of our viewers in North America, maybe with better
I'm not sure.
weather. I'm not sure.
In some places,
in
yes.
some places. Anyway, I think that from right and from the left, we all should little bit be less populists and really listen to what people said. What Mr. Smotrich said. He said, in my hypothetical, utopical vision of way of life, I would like that all the country will live by the halakha, by the Jewish religious law, but we will never force anyone to live like that. What the media did, the media cut the second half of the sentence and made it totally different. So we all agree that halakha or Islam or Christianity can inspire the believers also in democratic countries, but the rule of law of democracy should prevail, and I think that you and I, and also Mr. Smotrich, if we will take his complete sentence, we all agree and should agree about that. But what is more concerning me is not the extremism of Mr. Smotrich, which we saw that he said that he has boundaries, but the willingness of your party after the election to cooperate with the so-called United Arab Party. I say so-called because other Arabs can vote also to other parties, not necessarily to this one. So my issue is not with the Arab population in Israel, but with this specific party or list of candidates. And you have you can find there very extremists, Islamists, fundamentalists of the radical Islam. So what do you think about their vision?
Mr. Ameli, when you talk about that, first you're right, but they can be part of the coalition. But if I go, for example, to the last votes in the Knesset, if I look, for example, on rights of LGBT, all of them, those you call radical Islam, went out, and many members of the United Arab Party, actually the United Party, this is the name, United Party, few of them voted for the rights of LGBT and few went out. When you talk about your party and your coalition parties, about this person, for example, and other coalition parties, religious Jewish parties, all of them voted against the rights of LGBT. In your party, there were 1 or 2 or 3, I don't remember how many, say even 4, went out. So when you compare the situation, at least in the Knesset, those are not, it's not that the Jewish religious parties are more extreme than the Muslim, it's the Jewish so-called traditional parties, right-wing, soft right-wing, legitimate right-wing, are against rights like LGBT and others more than the Muslims.
So you believe that the religious right-wing...
I describe the situation, it's not a matter of belief.
Do you believe that they are more extremist than the radical Islam within the parties, that your party is collaborating with them?
I see that in the Knesset, your party that is not religious is more extreme than the other party.
I will give you my answer. By the way, it's very nice that you moved the discussion to this issue.
When you talk about this,
because you didn't give me an answer, but I will answer you.
I did answer, but can you give other examples that this issue, you say they are radical Islam. What does it mean that they don't drink beer? What does it mean in the matter of voting in the Knesset?
That they believe that Israel should not exist as the nation state of the Jewish people.
Jonathan Pollard gave an interview yesterday to the Israeli TV, and actually he sent a message to the Israeli Prime Minister asking him to help him, to let him have at least freedom of movement, maybe even coming to Israel. I don't know exactly what is written there. He explained that his wife is she's not healthy. He has to go with her. She has to help her, and because of his restrictions on movement, he can do that. What do you think about that, Betty?
First of all, I think that the crime that Mr. Pollard committed is very serious. And of course, that we don't think, from American point of view, of course, and I think that this is something that Israel is not proud of. And given that, and after we mentioned the obvious thing that should be said, I think that after more than 30 years, under the conditions of the health of his wife, I think that if it would be an Israeli case, we would let the ex-prisoner, the ex-con, to take care for his family from a humanistic point of view. And it doesn't mean that what he did is not wrong. I think that since the Israeli government cooperated with him back then in the 80s, it's appreciated that Prime Minister Netanyahu in the 90s took responsibility on behalf of Israel and gave him an Israeli idea to say, you committed the crime, but we are responsible. So this responsibility should be showed now by asking President Trump, let Jonathan go home. He gave his time for his crimes, and it's about time to demonstrate a little bit of mercy.
So first time, I think that I can agree that in everything that you have said, and I see it happened to me many times. I see prisoners after more than 30 years, and I think to myself, okay, yeah, they have done something terrible, for sure. I'm talking not only about him, I cannot tell about everybody, not about everybody, but many times. They have done something very terrible, but more than 3 decades have passed. And we should have, and I'm not talking only about US, and this is an internal case of US, but I'm talking about Israel, about all over the world. We should have more compassion to people. We should understand after 3 decades that we are in a different world, they are different people, and we can forgive, maybe not forgive, but understand that we have to give a second chance for the few more years that these people have to live.
Moshe, I would like to thank you for the very calm and polite discussion. And I hope that at least our viewers in Israel in this hot summer will take an example from us and will manage the political debate with kindness, with tolerance, and with, how to say, the serious attitude toward topics. And thank you very much for that.
Thank you, Davidi, and see you again. This is all the time we have for this week's The Election Arena. I am Mossi Raz, and I want to thank Davidi Hermelin for joining me today, and you, our viewers, for tuning in. Until next time.